Hello and what is up, YouTube? Today we just got this post from Bex about what Grinding Gear Games is working on presently with the 3.11 harvest cycle, and it looks like there's a lot of improvements that are coming, so let's jump in and take a look at what those improvements are. What we're working on. Next week, we plan to deploy patch 3.11.1 and we'll preview its patch notes next week. In the meantime, we wanted to provide some general indication of what we're working on in the immediate future. While not all of these changes will be in next week's patch, we'll aim to get as many of them in as possible. In case you missed any of them, we've already released several small updates with improvements to Harvest. You can find them in all of these various links below. General Harvest improvements. We're working on a new reward item that can drop from both Harvest monsters and the final boss. There are several variations of it that you can receive randomly. It has a limited number of uses and can be placed within your garden to produce more life force from nearby plants, create luckier crafting outcomes, or provide a chance to generate additional crafting options for each of the ones you planted. We're brainstorming other stuff it could do also. Wow, that on its own, that sounds like a lot. Anything that's going to give us more life force, I feel like that's a lot of the choke point for a lot of us in terms of our crafting. That's going to be a big improvement, depending on how rare it is, right? This is a new random reward drop, so hopefully it's more on the lucky drop side than on the rare drop side, but we'll see. The colors of growth meters on plants have been improved so that it's easier for colorblind players to differentiate between wild and primal plants. Hey, thank you so much. That's so nice. We're also investigating changing the UI artwork of these so that you can tell the difference more easily without relying on color. Hey, that would be great. For those of you who don't know, by the way, about 8% or so of at least the male population is colorblind. That's just a general stat that's out there. It's roughly around 8 to 9% of the population. So that's not to say anything about our female friends. I just don't have those stats handy. I just know that stat off the top of my head. So any sorts of colorblind improvements are always appreciated in games. In fact, in a lot of board games, they actually, you'll see colorblind support where icons will have different icons for different things rather than just relying on different colors. And that's something that GGG has relied on in the past, using different icons for similarly shaded things that might be confusing for colorblind individuals playing the game. We've added stairs to the terrain around the Sacred Grove's portal to improve its accessibility. Nice. I've just been flame dashing to it. Now I won't have to. Increased the number of seeds that drop in maps, particularly mid-tier and rarer seeds. Hey, so it's now rewarding. It's more rewarding now to actually go into higher tier maps. That's good news. You now receive a lot more seeds from the highest tier maps. Harvest crafting options will be sorted by their tier rather than their life force cost, and will also be grouped together by their crafting type. Improvements to the final harvest boss fight. The final boss fight will guarantee that you receive a few of the new reward item mentioned above. Okay, so it's going to be random if we're fighting other stuff, but it's a guaranteed outcome if you fight the final boss fight. So if you're just looking to farm life force, this new whatever it's going to be called, like let's call it a crop bonus or a crop harvest or like whatever it's going to be called, that is going to be a guaranteed drop from the boss. That is very good news. Improved various mechanics to enhance the feeling of the fight, adding debuff icons to signal when the boss's debuff has been applied to you. Adding a progress percentage value that indicates how close you are to the next boss respawn, improving various visual components of the fight, improving the boss AI so that it's less likely to move onto ground effects and more likely to leave them. Fixed various bugs associated with this fight, including the boss being able to get stuck within vine walls. Lastly, the Vulkan beta, we're continuing to steadily improve the Vulkan renderer and would ideally like to get it out of beta prior to our September launch. Please continue to send supports to us on the bug report forum, and we'll continue to fix them as soon as possible. Thank you for all of your feedback since Harvest's launch. We really appreciate it. Lastly, on this Vulkan thing, if you haven't read all of the different patches that have been coming out and the plans for the upcoming year, basically GGG has said, hey, look, we're planning on a Mac OS port that will allow Mac users to play POE, but the Vulkan renderer is going to be the basis for that platform. So that's one of the reasons why getting this rushed out sooner allows more players to play. So that's good news. So if you're helping with that, and if you're sending in a bug report for them, you're actually eventually helping users in the future be able to play POE on Mac machines. So that's pretty cool. Well, all of this looks great, specifically the stuff that's going to give higher tier seeds or better tier seeds and increasing the number of seeds that drop, particularly in mid tier and rarer seeds. Yeah, seeing more of those in higher tier maps, like that's what it should have been from the get-go probably, and I'm glad to see that that's going to be changing relatively quickly. Also, Beck says, quick note, the improvements to seed drops may be deployed today. That was her last comment on this particular thread. So that's really, really good news. So if you're playing the game right now and you're noticing that you're getting better seed drops, then this is why. So hopefully these are some of the improvements that are going to provide a little bit of redemption for a Harvest League in the midst of a league that is coming off of COVID-19. So I'm very, very thankful that we have a league at all. And these improvements are hopefully going to make a league start that has started a bit rocky, hopefully improved from there. Anyway, drop us a comment down below. Let us know what you think about these changes. And as always, if you're playing Harvest League, then I hope today is the day a Mirror of Calandra drops for you.
Thanks for watching that video. If you'd like more information on any of our discussion points today, you can see them down below in the video description. If you'd also like to join our Discord or support our Patreon, you can do so with the links down below. Thanks again, and big shout out to all of our Patreon supporters.